I am about to address some things as the supervisor. There will be no comments. There won't be anything. It'll just be me addressing you guys to tell you what's going on.
Weird. So weird. It really is like the whole country's hypnotized. And I just think this is a perfect storm of things that are happening all at the same time.
Hold on to your seats, folks, because we're diving into the wild and escalating drama coming out of Dalton, Illinois, where Mayor Tiffany Henyard is in the thick of a political storm that just keeps getting messier. If you thought local politics couldn't be as juicy as a reality TV show, think again. This one's got more plot twists, turns, and jaw-dropping moments than anyone could have predicted. And to top it off, even Joe Rogan has jumped in, turning what started as a small-town scandal into a national conversation. Buckle up, because we're about to break it all down. The latest twist. Henyard is now suing several village trustees over a contentious meeting this past Monday. Yes, you heard that right, a lawsuit over a local council meeting. This marks just another dramatic chapter in the ongoing saga surrounding her leadership. For those unfamiliar, Henyard made history in 2021 as Dalton's first female mayor, a trailblazer in local politics. But rather than leading the town to calmer waters, she's been caught in a whirlwind of controversies that are raising serious questions about her ability to lead. But this isn't your typical political back and forth. Henyard is facing some deeply troubling allegations that go way beyond the usual mudslinging. From claims of intimidation and threats against residents to bringing in one of the most controversial attorneys in the country to back her up. The drama feels more like a Hollywood thriller than a local government story. The controversy really started to heat up when reports began circulating that Henyard was exactly playing fair with some of Dalton's residents. Sure, it's common for politicians to have disagreements with critics, but this took a dark turn when people claimed Henyard started using threatening tactics to silence them. Yes, allegedly, the mayor warned residents that there would be consequences if they spoke out against her. This is raising major red flags, especially when you consider that the role of a public official is supposed to be about representing and engaging with the community, not scaring people into silence, instead of fostering open dialogue or working to address concerns. Henyard is reportedly using fear to maintain control. This kind of behavior is troubling, particularly in a small community where trust and cooperation should be at the core of leadership. As the drama continues to unfold, Dalton residents are left questioning how their once groundbreaking mayor became entangled in such a messy, controversial situation. With legal battles brewing and stakes only getting higher, it's clear that the story is far from over. Henyard's leadership is under intense scrutiny, and the public is waiting to see how this all plays out.
2 meetings in different locations. It was a little confusing for some residents, but the meeting here at Village Hall canceled after a few minutes because they didn't.
Hold on tight, because things are heating up in Dalton, Illinois, and the drama surrounding Mayor Tiffany Henyard is now front and center in a political spectacle that has escalated from a local issue into a national conversation. What started as a small-town scandal is rapidly spiraling into a full-blown political crisis with multiple twists, turns, and jaw-dropping moments. And just when you thought it couldn't get more intense, none other than Joe Rogan himself has entered the conversation, amplifying the already seismic tensions and drawing even more attention to Henyard's troubled leadership. Let's break down this incredibly messy situation and see where it headed. It all started with some serious allegations. Mayor Henyard wasn't just clashing with critics or political opponents. She was allegedly using threats and intimidation tactics against Dalton's residents. According to reports, residents who voiced concerns about her leadership and actions began to feel the heat in increasingly troubling ways. Imagine speaking out at a public meeting or sharing concerns with a local official, only to suddenly find yourself under heightened scrutiny. It wasn't just words anymore. People started feeling genuine pressure and fear, including reports of being targeted by local authorities. Could this be a coincidence? It's hard to say, but the timing and the growing volume of these reports are raising serious red flags among the public as these allegations gain momentum. What began as a local issue quickly turned into something much more disturbing. The residents of Dalton, once hopeful for positive change under their first female mayor, now found themselves grappling with what many were calling an increasingly authoritarian regime. People were demanding answers, questioning whether Henyard had crossed a line that no public servant should ever cross. And just when it seemed like the storm couldn't get any bigger, a bombshell dropped. An anonymous private investigator claiming to have insider knowledge from the United States District Court in Illinois added even more fuel to the fire. According to this individual, there were darker, more sinister issues at play within Dalton's local government that hadn't been uncovered yet. These allegations pointed to systemic corruption, financial misconduct, and a level of abuse of power that had previously been out of sight. As the community continued to wrestle with the mounting tension, it became clear that the situation was escalating beyond anyone's expectations. And just when you thought things couldn't get crazier, Joe Rogan, yes, the podcaster with millions of followers, stepped into the fray. Rogan, who has a knack for turning local political stories into national conversations, didn't hold back. He publicly slammed Mayor Henyard, calling her actions a complete abuse of power and accusing her of using threats and intimidation against her own residents. Rogan's powerful platform turned what was originally a local political squabble into a nationwide discussion about the dangers of unchecked authority. Rogan's criticism wasn't just directed at Henyard's leadership. He quickly broadened his focus to the larger issue of power being misused by elected officials, who are supposed to be held to the highest standards of accountability. His words resonated with his massive audience, further amplifying concerns of Dalton's residents. This wasn't just some obscure local issue anymore. It was a full-blown scandal drawing scrutiny from across the country. The ripple effect was immediate. As more people from across the U.S. started paying attention, media outlets from all over began to pick up the story. What once seemed like a local problem had evolved into a nationwide political firestorm. For Henyard, this sudden surge of national attention only added more pressure to an already fragile situation. The question now was, could she weather the storm, or would the growing public backlash force her to resign? As the media scrutiny mounted, Dalton's residents became increasingly vocal about their concerns. Many residents weren't just angry about Henyard's alleged threats and misuse of power. They were also deeply worried about the broader implications for the future of their community. How could they trust a mayor who used fear tactics to silence dissent? And more troubling, how much deeper did corruption go? The situation reached new heights when the court declined to hold Henyard in contempt, but instead issued a warning. Should she fail to comply with certain rulings, the consequences could worsen. This ruling only fueled the growing anger and frustration among Dalton's residents, who viewed it as yet another example of Henyard's authoritarian behavior. Many residents reported feeling a constant, ominous fear of retaliation for questioning or criticizing Henyard. What was supposed to be a healthy democratic process was now tainted by an atmosphere of fear. It wasn't just a few isolated complaints. Residents were coming forward, claiming they now felt like they had targets on their backs. One particularly chilling quote from a resident summed up the sentiment. "This woman, she needs to be thrown in jail." The frustration was palpable. It was clear that Dalton was in the midst of a political crisis that showed no signs of slowing down. If these allegations proved to be true, the situation goes far beyond poor leadership. It veers into outright corruption. A mayor allegedly using her office to silence opposition, retaliate against critics, and maintain an iron grip on power is a serious matter. The community's frustration only continues to grow as the details emerge, leaving residents wondering how far Henyard will go to quash dissent and protect her leadership amidst all the growing turmoil. Henyard made another controversial decision that sent shockwaves through Dalton. She hired one of the most notorious attorneys in recent history, Brenly, to represent her. If you're unfamiliar with Brenly, let's just say he's no stranger to scandal. This attorney has been involved in some of the most high-profile and controversial legal cases in the country. You may remember him from his involvement in defending R. Kelly's former manager during the infamous R. Kelly saga. His track record includes accusations of witness tampering, bending the rules, and using underhanded tactics to win cases for high-profile clients. So, why hire a lawyer with such a murky reputation? That's the question many Dalton residents are asking. With a scandal already underway, Henyard's decision to bring in Brenly only added fuel to the fire. It wasn't just a poor choice, it was a baffling one. There are plenty of reputable lawyers who could have stepped in, but Henyard chose the one with a reputation already stained by controversy. This raised serious questions about what Henyard might be trying to hide. Was she expecting him to use his questionable tactics to defend her from mounting allegations? Or was there more to the story that she wasn't ready to reveal? The reaction in Dalton was overwhelmingly negative. Residents were left scratching their heads, wondering what was going on in their town. Some even questioned Henyard's sanity, pointing out that she seemed to have no qualms about using taxpayer money to fund her increasingly lavish lifestyle. It wasn't just legal fees. Henyard had reportedly used public funds for personal indulgences, including a luxury trip to Las Vegas and the purchase of a brand new $150,000 Tahoe. All this at a time when Dalton's finances were already in crisis. Henyard's critics argue that her leadership goes beyond questionable financial decisions. It's about how she allegedly uses her office to target anyone who opposes her. Businesses that spoke out against her were reportedly shut down, and even residents who dared to criticize her leadership were said to face consequences, including eviction. These claims aren't just casual complaints. They're serious allegations that paint a disturbing picture of a leader who's lost touch with her responsibilities and her community, and it doesn't stop there. Henyard's previous legal team reportedly quit, citing the financial strain of handling her case. Can you imagine being so deep in controversy that even your own lawyers decide to walk away? That's exactly what happened, and it only added more fuel to the fire. Now, with Brenly at the helm, Dalton residents are left wondering whether Henyard will ever face true accountability. With each new revelation, the situation is spiraling out of control, and Henyard's leadership is looking more and more untenable. The question now isn't just whether Henyard will survive the scandal. It's whether Dalton can recover from the damage that's been done. Her approval ratings have plummeted, public trust is shattered, and residents are demanding answers. Will Henyard continue to wield her power unchecked, or will the mounting pressure force her to step down and face the consequences of her actions? The people of Dalton have made it clear they want accountability. Whether Henyard can regain their trust remains to be seen, but one thing is certain. The political drama surrounding her leadership is only just beginning, and the path ahead is unpredictable. With national attention now focused on Dalton, the stakes have never been higher, and the fate of the village's leadership is hanging in the balance as the investigation into Henyard's actions continues and the public backlash grows louder. Only time will tell whether Dalton will be able to reclaim its sense of governance, or whether Henyard's political reign will ultimately crumble under the weight of scandal and controversy.
Very appreciative to receive the information today. We have the best mayor ever. I've been here since 1990.
Let's take a closer look at Brenly, because his involvement in this whole saga is a key factor that has many people raising their eyebrows. This is a guy with a history steeped in controversy, and his presence on Henyard's legal team has only added fuel to the fire. Brenly is no stranger to scandal. He's been at the center of some of the messiest legal battles, and his methods have repeatedly come into question. Allegations of witness coaching, manipulating the legal system, and even pocketing money from clients without delivering promised services have dogged him for years, so it begs the question, why would Henyard choose someone with such a tainted reputation to represent her during one of the most turbulent times of her political career? The timing of his hiring is particularly interesting given the multiple investigations swirling around her. Henyard is already under scrutiny for financial mismanagement, with reports surfacing that she's been using taxpayer funds for personal expenses, lavish trips, expensive purchases, and even throwing large parties on the public's dime. It's not the best look for someone in her position, and things just seem to keep getting worse. Add Brenly into the mix, and you've got a perfect storm of scandal. Henyard's appearance at a recent Dalton Village Board meeting, held at the Park District building due to space limitations at Village Hall, raised even more questions. Why would she make a dramatic appearance now, especially at a time when she's facing mounting allegations and should be focusing on clearing her name? Many are wondering if Henyard is banking on Brenly's aggressive legal tactics to weather the storm, or there's something else at play here, something that hasn't fully surfaced yet. The speculation around her motives is running wild, and the truth remains elusive, but what's clear is that Henyard is not backing down. From the moment she took office, her tenure has been marked by chaos. Board meetings have devolved into shouting matches, allegations of unethical spending have mounted, and now this latest scandal is taking the drama to new heights. For someone who came into office with so much promise, Henyard has quickly turned things upside down, and she seems to be right in the middle of a fresh controversy every few months. The headlines just keep coming. Now, reports have emerged that the FBI may be getting involved with investigations into her finances, political action committee, and close associates. You would think that this would be a wake-up call, maybe a moment for Henyard to reevaluate her approach. But instead, she's doubling down. She continues to insist that she's the victim of a smear campaign orchestrated by her political enemies. Instead of correcting course, Henyard seems to be leaning into the chaos, fueling the flames rather than dousing them. It's a bold move, to say the least, but whether it's the right one is still up for debate now. With Brenly in her corner, things are only getting murkier. People are questioning her decision to hire someone with such a controversial history, and it's raising suspicions about what Henyard might be hiding. Is she relying on Brenly's controversial legal tactics to navigate through these murky waters? What does she think he can do for her that no one else can? And perhaps the most pressing question, asterisk, what does she have to hide? Henyard's latest court appearance was over illegal appointments she allegedly made to several positions within the village. Among them were some highly controversial hires, further adding to the growing list of scandals surrounding her leadership. As this story continues to unfold, the residents of Dalton are left grappling with an uncertain future. Critics of Henyard are now openly calling for her resignation, saying she's lost the trust of the community. Some are even suggesting that if she doesn't step down, she could face serious legal consequences. It's a tense and unpredictable situation, and the future of Henyard's leadership looks increasingly bleak. So, what do you think? Is Henyard fighting a losing battle? Or is there a chance she'll manage to come out on top? Should public officials like her be held to a higher standard? Or is this just part of the game when it comes to politics? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. The drama surrounding Henyard isn't over yet, and there's likely to be more shocking twists and turns to come. Stay tuned.